Shop.motiversity.com. Fuel your fire. Elevate your style.
What I have learned in 14 years, and I've learned it a good 10 years ago, I'd say, is I never choose a business. I always choose the entrepreneur. I have sat there and listened to business plans that I don't even know what they're talking about. It makes no sense to me what they're talking about because it's not a business I know or I don't understand the terminology. And in the old days, I would have thought I was too stupid, but now I know I'm smart enough that if I'm not understanding it's okay. I'm probably still smart. But I have to be really smart in making the choice of the individual. Do I trust this person? Can I visualize them going through a wall? What's their background? Are they good at getting back up? Do they have ambition? Not passion. Passion's so overrated. I feel passionate. We really wanted to do this. Like saying you're excited about your first date. Who cares? Wait till you marry the lady and see how you feel. But I think the commitment and the drive and the ambition is what I'm always looking for. You know what? I think in hindsight, if I wasn't dyslexic and I didn't have a hard time in school, I don't think I would have been successful, believe it or not. Because I think everything I've done in my life has been one long attempt to show the world that I'm not stupid. So I'm driven. The difference between the really good ones and the ones that don't make it are the ones that don't make it know how to be a victim. They feel sorry for themselves, they blame the next guy, and they don't take the responsibility as their own. And that's what an entrepreneur does. You're the boss, it's your problem, period. It's your problem, it rests with you. Now what are you going to do about it? I'm not very nice or fair-minded with rich kids. The problem with investing in a business owned by a rich kid is usually raise money already rather easily. It's not sweat equity. So you got a chunk of change to get started. Okay, that's nice. Now you would think that would make things easier. I think it makes things difficult. You don't spend your money wisely. It's Papa's money or your parents' friends' money or wherever you got it from. So it's not valuable money. And I've seen more people stand and say, well, we pivoted. We lost that and we pivoted. What happened to the guys that gave you the cash? What happened to them? No regard at all. Okay? When you get a poor kid, they typically have something to prove. They really have to stretch every penny. It's their own money. They're dying just to get a little bit more. There's so much a greater need. And there's also a desire to do well in living in their life. They want to go on vacations. They too want to get a sports car. They want to get a nice apartment. These rich kids have had it all before. They've been on vacation everywhere. They've always had rich cars, rich parents. So I think it's so much harder for a rich kid to succeed as an entrepreneur. I just love poor kids. And I have to tell you, out of my whole portfolio, I don't have a single rich kid who succeeded. School is tough on kids that can't learn. I was one of those kids, myself and my two brothers. The other kids were A students, but we just couldn't read, we couldn't write, we couldn't learn. And what happens to a kid when you're in a school situation is you judge yourself based on school grades. What else do you have? Someone could say, she's such a nice girl. Well, that might sound good, but if you're getting all Fs, you feel terrible. You just feel terrible. And so your sense of self, I think, is formed very much by how good a student you are in all school systems. And it shouldn't be, because it's just one kind of intelligence, of course, but it is that way when you're a student. You sum yourself up based on whether you could get good grades or not. It's as simple as that. I had been working for the Giafuni brothers, two developers in New York City, as my first job, answering their phone as a receptionist, and decided to go out on my own and start a real estate business. But I needed a listing. And so I went to Mr. Giafuni and asked him if he could just give me one listing that I could rent out, an apartment to rent. And he gave me his worst, 3L, which was on the third floor in the back, which had previously been a superintendent's dark apartment. So looking at this, I didn't have a lot of money to spend. I had to place one ad in the New York Times, that precious ad, how to describe that apartment to attract customers in. And so I thought about it, and finally, after looking at columns of competitive ads in the Times, I had an idea and asked Mr. Giafuni, could he build a half wall with a double entrance that separated the L in the living room from the rest of the living room, because most apartments in New York had L-shaped living rooms. He was willing to do it because I told him I thought I could get him another $40 a month. Not $300 that he wanted, but $340. And in went my ad. one bedroom and den, $340, competing with all the other apartments that said one bedroom, $300, $310, $315, something like that. And I got probably 80 phone calls, because who the heck would want to go in and see a one bedroom for, say, $300 when they could get a one bedroom and den for $340? And that phone never stopped ringing. And I ran that ad again and again, because Mr. Jafuni gave me every one bedroom he had and built a wall in every unit. When I read about this show, I thought, of course, this is perfect. This is right up my alley. A few days before I was supposed to fly out to LA and go on to the Shark Tank set in Hollywood, I got a call from Mark Burnett Productions, his assistant, who said, "I'm sorry, we've changed our mind. We're not going to hire you, but we'll use you as a fallback." How insulting. A fallback. And so I sat right down and wrote an email. And in the email, I told Mark that I understood that he had asked another girl to dance instead of me, but I was much more accustomed to coming in first. And I cited for him the worst things that happened in my life in very brief form. Donald Trump said I'd never get a penny of the $4 million commission I had to sue him for and won. Sister Stella Marie said I'd always be stupid, and I'm not. The Old Boy Network in New York said I'd never succeed and compete with them until I became the #1 rival. And I asked him if he'd invite both women out for the lone female seat and have us compete. And I went out there, his invitation, he turned around, and I won that seat, thank God. Imagine what my life would have been the last 7 years if I didn't have these 38 wonderful entrepreneurs in my life helping them build their business. What a waste and what a shame. But I had learned by then the importance of getting right back up and come back fighting. And that's what got me that seat on Shark Tank. I don't think I'm the type of person that is brave enough to admit I've made a mistake, honestly, because I think things have not worked out along the way, where things just didn't work out as I had hoped or dreamed them to be. But I don't see them as a mistake, because as quick as you're thinking, oh, poor me, you start to see the light of the door that it's opening that couldn't have opened without it. Okay. So I don't have like a regret of this was a big mistake or that was a big mistake. But I have to also say, I have my whole life been very cognizant of doing anything and exposing myself to anything, even when I didn't want to do it, because I'm deathly afraid of feeling like I would regret. Like, what if I don't do it? That's more of a motivation for me than doing. Like, for example, with Dancing with the Stars, I did not want to do it. I'm an old babe. The last thing I want to do is practice 4 hours a day.
You were great.
You think I was so great? Not the judges. They didn't think so. I was the #1 person on Dancing with the Stars last season, #1 rejected. Now there's a record, okay? But so you might say that was a mistake with all the work that led up to, and it was a social embarrassment. I thought I'd be rejected maybe #3 or 5 or 6, but #1 I never saw it coming. And so I was kind of a little mortified on that one. But you know what? I'm so thankful I did it, and the minute I recovered by the next morning, I'm like, thank God I did it, and thank God it's over. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Because I said yes because I didn't want to wonder what it would have been like. I learned that you get back up and all the opportunities in getting back up. Just got to be a habit of getting up. You get up and you're going to find something that you can do something with. Just get up. That's a habit. You have to make that habit.
Welcome to shop.motiversity.com, where greatness meets style. We understand the fire burning within you, the relentless desire to conquer, to overcome, to become the best version of yourself. And we've captured that spirit in every fabric we create. Stand tall, my friend. Unleash your potential. that ignite the fire within.